Hello, everybody, and welcome here to the Sports Talk Network channel, and specifically to Talking Packers with Steve. And I apologize for my voice. I'm going through a cold. I don't know exactly what's going on, but slowly losing it. I was at a basketball game on New Year's Day, so I was screaming and everything then too. So either way, going through that, I'll be better for my videos next week, at least audio side of things. But for this week's videos, which are pretty much one yesterday, the rest today, and maybe one on Saturday morning, will unfortunately be me talking like this. So hopefully you can hear me at all. But anyways, we're gonna be talking about NFL here with the wild card weekend coming up, and certainly going to be a exciting weekend. You know, you got Saturday and Sunday matchups. Saturday you have evening or late afternoon and an evening game, and Sunday, like it's a regular NFL Sunday, a noon and 3:45 game there accordingly. But before we actually dive into these games, as you could probably hear them in the background, my guest for today, um, Malik, how are you doing?
Doing good, man. How are you?
It could be better. The voice, as you can tell, is not there. But what are your hypeness, your intrigue, your excitement heading into the playoffs? Because I know your team, the team you rep, the Patriots, are on a bye, not playing. Excuse me, not playing this weekend. But for the teams that are playing, what do you want us looking forward to, and you're excited for this weekend?
I'm looking forward to it. I think all four of the games are pretty good games. It's up in the air with all the games to me. They're kind of unpredictable, so I'm excited.
Yeah, same here. I would say that at least for me, there's one that isn't as up in the air, but most of the others are. So one of the four not being up in the air, at least to me, in my opinion, still means it's going to be a good weekend, as any NFL weekend would be, with teams that are left in the dance that are now in the dance. And it's one of those things where the way I see it is, as long as you're part of it, as long as you make the playoffs, you have just as much of a chance as any other team that's in it, to win that Super Bowl. Though again, each person's opinion may differ, subjectively, of who we think or who's the favorite, but still, whether you're a sixth seed in the AFC or the number one seed in the AFC, you're in the dance, you're in the playoffs, you have a chance to win the thing, obviously. So let's actually start with the first NFC matchup game. Actually, the game's going to be on Sunday, but one I want to talk about first, the Philadelphia Eagles, the defending and reigning champions, actually back in the playoffs to defend their crown. Will they make it back to the Super Bowl to officially defend their crown? Be like a championship match, like in WWE, defending their title. Well, here in the wild card weekend, they go to Chicago to face that vaunted Bears defense, Khalil Mack, and the Chicago Bears also on the offense, Mitch Trubisky, going up against Nick Foles there. So, who do you think has the edge in this matchup, and who would you be predicting to get the W?
Um, the Bears defense has been really good, man. And the Eagles, to me, they started off pretty bad. They picked it up. They picked up their momentum pretty good towards the end of the season, and even Nick Foles in that offense is really good, man. Even though Carson Wentz is the main starter, but Nick Foles is a great backup and a great fit to that offense. But I think this is gonna be one of the upsets of the playoffs. I'm gonna pick the Eagles to win. I think the Eagles will go in there, and I think they'll get an upset. Um, I don't know. I got a gut feeling that the Eagles. I think Chicago. Mitchell Trubisky is good, but I don't know if he's the guy for the Bears quarterback position. The Bears they're a defensive team and they're kind of like the Ravens. They run the ball they rely on their defense to make the stops on the offense. So the Bears are going to run. I expect them to run the ball a lot in this game, and I expect their defense to try to stop Philadelphia from, because Philadelphia is a more pass first than run. So I expect them to try to stop the pass game, but I think it's going to be a low scoring game. I don't think it's going to be pretty high scoring, but I think the Eagles will get the upset. I think the Eagles will win. I think they'll win. I'll go on a limb. I'll say I think they'll win like 17-13.
All right, I can't say anything wrong with anything that you said there. For me though, I think the magic runs out. With remember Tampa Bay earlier this season, Fitzmagic with Ryan Fitzpatrick. Well, the magic here for Nick Foles and the Philadelphia Eagles trying to make another historic run in the playoffs. This time as a lower seed, but still making that magical run to the Super Bowl. Now, if the Eagles do, and I'll just put this out there, if the Eagles do make the run, and I'm sitting here in my Super Bowl review show, the end of the season review show, and the Eagles are the champions again, and Nick Foles wins another Super Bowl MVP, then I will be one of those to say that maybe the Eagles should strongly, and I mean strongly, consider having Nick Foles being the starting quarterback moving forward for the Philadelphia Eagles franchise. And I'm not saying they have to trade Carson Wentz. It's kind of a good bad situation to have, as in a good problem to have of having two good quarterbacks there and being to be dependent on both of them, no matter who you officially have there in the starting lineup. On the line sheet there, on the roster, who the starter is designated. But I'm going with the Chicago Bears. I've been saying for the past couple of weeks on the show that the Chicago Bears and Kyron's Baltimore Ravens are kind of the mirror image of each other, with great defense and so quarterback skill of their quarterbacks. Though I do say Baltimore with their rookie sensation, more so than Trubisky in Chicago. But still, I do feel that both are mirror images of each other in both conferences. And how ironic that would be if we have the Bears against the Ravens in the Super Bowl. But anyways, for this matchup, I'm going with the Chicago Bears. I just don't see Nick Foles being able to survive against the Chicago defense that's just licking their chops. An injured Foles, yes, he's manning up, so to speak, and going to play, of course. But I think he's ripe for the picking. I think the Bears will be getting a win. I think this is going to be, at least for me, the one easy prediction of the four. And I'm going with the Chicago Bears over the Eagles in a rout 35-13 win in Chicago. And now heading over to the AFC side, the first AFC matchup to speak on, the Indianapolis Colts, another team that was dead in the water, almost like the Eagles. Most of the other fan base and most of the NFL not thinking that or believing that the Colts would make it to the playoffs, let alone the Texans, because they're 0-3. We have the Indianapolis Colts against the Houston Texans in Houston. And obviously, and of course, I'll let you go first there, Malik. Who do you have winning this game? And what matchups do you see that are going to make it the game and the biggest matchups as well in this contest?
So this game, to me, is going to be the best game out of all of them. The two games that they had, both games were really close. Both games were won by 3 points by each team. The last time they played, they was in Houston, and the Colts won. For me, this is really hard to predict because the Colts have been on a roll. Andrew Luck has been playing sensational for that team. Their defense has played really, really well. T.Y. Hilton's played really well for them. And the Texans' defense hasn't really I don't want to say I don't want to say fallen off, but they haven't played well for the Texans. Deshaun Watson's played phenomenal for them. DeAndre Hopkins has probably got the best hands in a receiver in the league right now. But J.J. Watt, Deshaun Clowney, that defense hasn't really played up to the level, I think, in my opinion, that it should be playing up to. But I think I'm gonna pick Indianapolis to win. I think the Colts will go in there, and I think Andrew Luck will outshine Deshaun Watson, and I think the Colts defense will do enough to be able to get them into the next round. So I'm going to say the Colts win. I think it's going to be a very close game, though, and I'll go ahead and say the Colts win 28-24.
All right. Well, for me, I'm just going to say my score right away. I got the Indianapolis Colts getting the win as well. Stephen A's Indianapolis Colts. co-host with me over at Talking WJ. But his Colts, I see his team getting the win over Houston on the road in a very close game. It's like you said, and I was going to bring up myself of their matchups during the season. There's only like the eighth time, I believe, of divisional teams facing off again in the playoffs. I remember back in 2010, the Packers did when they faced the Bears in the NFC Championship game that year before beating Pittsburgh in the Super Bowl. But back to this game with two close games, I have Indianapolis getting the win again in another close game decided by 3 points or less. Indianapolis Colts 24, Houston Texans 23. Now bouncing back to the NFC side, I think at least for NFL Nation, especially with America's team, quote unquote, Dallas Cowboys, though I think the Green Bay Packers and the New England Patriots deserve more of that recognition of America's team than the Dallas Cowboys because Dallas doesn't really up deserving that. Maybe in the 70s and 80s they did because they were dominant. And there were somewhat there in the 90s, of course, with Aikman. Those Aikman versus Favre matchups.
Cowboys won two. The Cowboys only won two playoff games in 1995. So
exactly, well, that's what I mean. Well, that's kind of what I was saying in a roundabout way. They haven't done anything much lately. They're kind of going on what their past was and when they were of dominance.
That's not my team. No.
So, and that's why I say New England and Green Bay deserve that moniker of America's team more than Dallas. But back to the game, Seahawks versus Cowboys in Dallas, in Jerry's world. Malik, who do you have getting the win here?
This is to me is going to be another good game, but I'm going to pick the Cowboys to win. I think the Cowboys have a better team than the Seahawks. Russell Wilson is pretty much carrying that team on his back right now. The Cowboys got a better defense, and ever since they got Amari Cooper, they've been playing really well. I don't think the Seahawks are going to be able to stop the run game. I don't think they're going to be able to stop Ezekiel Elliott. And Dak, Dak Prescott's not a better quarterback than Russell Wilson, but he's got better weapons than Russell Wilson has right now. And I think the Cowboys will go and they will win. It'll be a close game. It'll be another good game. Very, very intense game. But I think the Cowboys will win. I'll say the score 21 to 14.
All right, yeah, and as in regards to Amari Cooper, I agree. Ever since he did come to Dallas, and when Seattle faced Dallas earlier this season, I think it was week number 3, Amari wasn't there, obviously, and Seattle a couple lucky with some turnovers at opportune times, of course, and that's all about how playing the game. But still, I don't see that happening again in Dallas. So I have Dallas winning, as much as it might suck for me personally to pick them, but I will be picking them because that's the right pick here. Amari Cooper being that X factor. Excuse me, as much as that Cowboys defense. I mean, Cowboys defense. I know we talk about the Ravens and Bears so much as the top defenses in the league. Well, don't forget the Dallas defense is pretty dang good. They're dang self. So I'm going with Dallas over Seattle in a close game as well. 27-23. Dallas defeating Seattle. And in the final matchup, we have the LA Chargers, the Los Angeles Chargers, facing off against Kyron's team, the Baltimore Ravens there in Baltimore. And again, I'll let Malik go first in his thoughts and predictions for this game. But to me, I'll just quickly say that this game is going to be the game of the weekend, at least for me. But Malik, what say you? How do you see this going down?
This one to me was the toughest one to pick. I think the one team that nobody really wants to play right now is the Ravens. They got the number 1 defense in the NFL right now. Lamar Jackson has been playing sensational for them. They got a great running game. But the Chargers, the last time they played the Chargers, they didn't have Melvin Gordon. He didn't play. And I think that's going to be a big factor for them. The Chargers, they got a good offense and defense. And, Phillip Rivers is one of those great quarterbacks that never make the Super Bowl. And I think this is one of his best teams he's had since 2006 when they had LT, when Damian Thompson won the MVP that year and had the record-breaking touchdown record. I think this might be one of Philip Rivers' last chances, man, to chase that Super Bowl ring. Like I said, this is one of the best teams he's been surrounded with in a long time, and they got two teams in LA, and the only team they really talk about in LA is the Rams. This is the one team I think that's a sleeper, and I think the Ravens beat the Chargers last time they played, but I think it's going to be hard to beat them twice. So I'm picking the Chargers to win. The Ravens, like I said, the Ravens are pretty much like the Bears. They're a run team first, and they rely on their defense. Lamar Jackson has played great. I do wonder what the future holds for Joe Flacco, though. Joe Flacco is still pretty young. He's only 33 years old. So, if they're going to stick with Lamar Jackson, I don't see him sticking around with the Ravens much longer. And maybe they trade him, get somebody for him, or maybe he goes somewhere else and plays because he's still a great quarterback. But, the Ravens are on a roll, but I think the Chargers will do enough to pull out the win. Like I said, I think this will be one of Philip Rivers' last chances to chase that ring. He's never made the Super Bowl, and this is, like I said, I think this is one of the best teams he's been surrounded with since 06 and 09. 06 and 09, he had some pretty good teams, but they were upset. They got 06, they got upset in the second round by the Patriots. 09, they got upset by the Jets in the second round. So I think this year may be their chances. This is the team. I think this is one of my sleeper teams in the playoffs. I think they will beat the Ravens. It's going to be a very good game. I think the score, I'm going to say the final score will be 31-24.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with the same way for the win. I'm going Chargers over the Ravens, 27-23 final for the game. I think another X factor is what I was talking about with Amari Cooper with the Cowboy game. For the Charger Raven game, I think Hunter Henry is coming back. They're the tight end for LA. He's going to be an X factor in the game. And I think with him being on the field, I think he's going to change things. I mean, they only played a couple weeks ago, and he wasn't there. Now him being there, also with some inopportune fumbles, Ravens defense being the ball hawks that they are, I think things are going to be a little bit different. San Diego actually at least having a blueprint or seeing a blueprint of how they didn't do well against Lamar Jackson and that run first option kind of quarterback, and him specifically, how they try to be able to defend that, stay in their lanes, and also anticipate things, lean leftward, which way he goes, eye movement, stuff like that, little things. Lamar Jackson be able to kind of pick up on some ticks like that. But how do you see the LA Chargers find a way to stop the Ravens? I'm going with LA over Baltimore. As regards to Joe Flacco, it might be a situation kind of like here in Green Bay with Brett Favre, though a little bit different in the actual situation. But Flacco maybe just having to move on, go to a new team, whether traded or just released and then signed with a new franchise, or however that is to be, and just go that way. They part amicably between quarterback and franchise. I don't see any bridges being burned, so to speak. It's just a young quarterback came in, took over the job first, now taking over the franchise to be the franchise quarterback. And here moving forward, especially if Baltimore makes any run at all in the playoffs, though we're not predicting they will, but if they did, then definitely for sure that probably is the way the Ravens should go for their future. And who should be their future franchise quarterback should be Lamar Jackson. See what we got with him and build around him through the draft and moving forward for the Baltimore Ravens. But yeah, that'd be pretty much for the wild card weekend. Of course, the 4 games, the teams in the bye. Of course, the number 1 seed in the NFC, the LA Rams. Or number 1, number 2, LA Rams. Number 1 in the AFC is the Kansas City Chiefs. And number 2 is the New England Patriots, as they await to see who they'll be facing next week in the divisional round of the playoffs. The other thing to, I guess, just talk about here, while I still have you on, is the coaching carousel. 8 coaching vacancies around the NFL, to include Green Bay and Arizona, among many others. I just want to get your thoughts on that. Who do you think some of these teams should go after? Do you think Josh McDaniels will leave New England for any of the teams?
Nope.
Any thoughts you have in regard to the coaching carousel of this offseason?
I don't think McDaniel's going to go anywhere until Tom Brady retires. When Brady retires, then he might go head coach somewhere else. He's supposed to be coaching the Colts this year, but he backed out on that. He already said no to the Bengals. So I don't really know. I don't think he's going to go anywhere until Tom Brady decides to retire. Because they have really good chemistry on the offense on the offensive wise. So I think he'll be there until Brady decides to hang it up for good. As far as the other coaches, I don't know, man. It's excuse me. They've got rid of a lot of coaches this year. The Green Bay got rid of their coach. Marvin Lewis is gone now for the Bengals. Arizona got rid of their coach. The Raiders got rid of their coach. It's hard to say where some of these coaches may end up. The Green Bay's coach, he'll definitely get a spot somewhere. I'm sure somebody will end up signing him on some team. I don't know where, but I don't know, man. What do you think about it?
Yeah, no, I just wanted to see what your thoughts were on it, especially with Josh McDaniels with your team there, New England Patriots. As regards to first off with Josh McDaniels, I think really, and almost this was kind of the same thing. I had an opinion with John Gruden before he did go into Oakland. Excuse me. Before he did go to Oakland Raiders, that the right fit, like he would come back to coaching if there was a right fit and right team, right situation, blah, blah, blah. And I think with Josh McDaniels, that's what he's waiting for, not just for when the era ends in New England with Brady retiring, excuse me, and Belichick retiring, because I think those two, whenever one retires, I think the other one's going to retire. Like they're both going to retire in the same offseason. And it'll be the end of the era there for New England. And it's the start of the rebuilding. But kind of with Green Bay, we did fire Mike McCarthy. Aaron's going to be here for a couple of years, but still, the era will end. I myself have been very lucky.
The problem with the whole Aaron Rodgers thing is that they pay him too much money.
He didn't want to be the highest paid quarterback.
All six of the highest paid quarterbacks didn't make the playoffs this year. And that's because when you pay a quarterback that much money, you don't have enough money to pay other players to surround him with. And it may be one or two players, but those players are important. It may be a linebacker, it may be a defensive tackle, it may be a cornerback, it may be another receiver or another running back. You never know. That's why Brady takes he's the 16th highest paid quarterback in the league right now. That's why he takes shorter pay cuts, because he knows you gotta have other money to surround yourself. They don't have money like the NBA. You know what I mean? In the NBA, you got players making $200 million contracts who, players sit on the bench and make ridiculous amounts of money. So the whole Aaron Rodgers thing, Aaron Rodgers is a phenomenal quarterback. It's just they pay him so much money, it's hard for them to go out and find other great talent players because they don't have the money to pay him.
Yeah, I agree 100%. But yeah, I've been lucky with my life with having Brett Favre and Aaron Rodgers. At some point we'll have actual down years in Green Bay, not just this one time here this year, down year, like actual years. I guess like it was in the 80s in Green Bay with the Packers. Well, before Brett got there. Brett and Aaron, or not Aaron, Brett and Reggie White, Brett Favre in 1992 to 93 season. Anyways, for Mike McCarthy, I think what would have been awesome is if, at least to me, awesome for him as a Pittsburgh guy that he is, Mike is, to have him go to Pittsburgh. I was hearing rumblings that Tomlin was going to be ousted and that they were going to bring in Mike McCarthy. I mean, there is a circus there in Pittsburgh right now. Nobody's been fired, but it's just been a circus in regards to Antonio Brown and Le'Veon Bell during the season and that whole stuff. It's like a Kardashian show over there. So
he ain't gonna be back here next year. He'll be somewhere else.
Yeah,
he's talking about Antonio Brown want to get traded. So
yeah, Brown wants to be traded. Bell never came back. He was supposed to come back by that deadline, and now he's gonna be pursuing options elsewhere.
Talking about they said, I heard that Indianapolis thinking about signing Le'Veon Bell next year.
Yeah. I was also hearing, at least, as rumors are, Green Bay as well looking into Le'Veon, but I'd see more Indianapolis than Green Bay for Le'Veon as a landing spot, to be quite honest, actually. But as for the coaching vacancies and all the interviews that have already happened, um, I think for the Arizona Cardinals, I know they offered Mike McCarthy already a contract and the option to even, in a sense, run the franchise, giving him more power, executive power, and he said no. So, you got to find the right landing spots. I mean, the Jets, you have a promising young squad, and your quarterback coming into his second year of his rookie season, and Donald. So, teams are a team like that, and then I think Cleveland is a good landing spot this time, not like in the past. Who wants to go to the Cleveland Browns? Well, it's different now.
Cleveland, the Browns got a bright future, man. I'm telling. I told everybody this year they was gonna have a better record than the Bengals, and I told them that they're gonna be in the next couple of years. The Browns, they may possibly make if they can rebuild that team right, because Baker Mayfield is gonna be the truth, and if they can rebuild that team right surrounding him, the Browns are gonna be the real deal.
Yeah, so the Browns actually a interesting landing spot, a place you actually want to go. You want to be interviewed by them, sort of thing. With the situation they have there with Baker, and actually that on the defense as well, the whole team around them, how they're trying to build, or the franchise is being built around Baker Mayfield, the franchise quarterback. I may not like him personally with his ego, but then again, that's what quarterbacks have. Aaron has it too. They all do. So it is what it is there. But for Cleveland, sky's the limit, and maybe next year they'll actually make the playoffs and end that streak. There, earlier this season they actually ended the streak, for losing games and actually won a game. Now building upon that is to move up even higher and making the playoffs. A team that did the opposite of that this season was the Jacksonville Jaguars, where last season they were a quarter away, let alone a play away, to defeating the New England Patriots in the AFC Championship game. And to be quite honest, bro, I was cheering for Jacksonville to win that game last year. And
But see, I wasn't really worried. We wasn't gonna lose to the Jaguars. Everybody was hyping that up. We wasn't about to lose to the Jaguars out of all teams. That's
no,
the last. That's the last thing I was worried about losing to. But I mean, that'd be a solid team for Joe Flacco to go to right there. They need a quarterback, so if they can get a quarterback on that offense, because they already got a good ass defense. If they can get a quarterback, they'll be something.
They can get right. Then you can have the AFC Championship game of the Browns and the Jaguars. So there you go. But anyways, um, no, I mean, back to the coaching staffs, the coaching carousels. I'm just hoping Mike McCarthy gets a head coaching job somewhere, and also Hugh Jackson. Hugh Jackson, I got chipped there in Cleveland. He should have been kept on the rest of the season, let alone given another season, another chance. I hope somewhere, whether he stays coordinator in Cincinnati or gets another head coaching opportunity, maybe even there in Cincinnati, where Marvin Lewis was finally let go. But either way, I'm hoping for McCarthy and Hugh.
Never thought they were gonna get rid of Marvin Lewis's ass.
I was worried they're gonna hold on to him forever.
I'm from the area, so and
right, yeah.
Where I live at, everybody around here is a Bengals fan because Cincinnati is like 5 minutes away from where I live
at. Right.
But man, I never in my life thought they was gonna get rid of him.
Well, hey, I mean, it doesn't work, have him for a long time. I mean, it's kind of the same thing with Pittsburgh and Tomlin.
I don't even think he's a bad coach. I just think it's the ownership. To be honest, I don't think it's the what people misunderstand is I don't think it's the coaching. I think it's the ownership. I don't think, if you've seen, I don't know if you ever watched the series they have, like the Football Life, about football players and stuff.
Oh yeah, I've seen some of those.
But they had one on Carson Palmer, and I watched it. And if you watch it, man, you can tell that it's not really the coaching. It's the ownership. They were saying when he was in Cincinnati, he was saying that they would promise him things that they wouldn't do, or they would say they were going to look into things that they didn't look into. Go after players they said they never went after. So it's not really I don't really think Marvin Lewis deserves all the blame. And I know He's never won a playoff game. He was there for like 15 something years, I think. But it's not really. I don't think it's really him. It's the coaching. Not the coaching, but it's the ownership. I don't think the owners want to spend that much money and go out here and get all these good players. So that's just my opinion.
I don't know. I get that, and I actually kind of agree in a sense in regard to the Cincinnati Bengals and how their franchise is structured. Um, excuse me. But beyond the coaching stuff, no real other big news, or at least stuff that I can think of to bring up in regards to everything season ending for the rest of the teams. Of course, their off season starting early, and looking forward to seeing how the games go this weekend with the wild card, and then next weekend divisional, and so on and so forth on the road to the Super Bowl. It's an interesting time of the year. We have the start of a new year. Happy 2019, and with the start of every year, we have the start of the playoffs in the NFL. The NBA this season actually revving up. My Milwaukee Bucks actually being good this year, uh, with Giannis Antetokounmpo, and
Hey, as long as they got him, y'all gonna be straight, man. That motherfucker is incredible.
that guy's tall. I had a good time at the game on New Year's Day, but
Once he develops a jump shot, he's gonna be unstoppable. You can't. There's no way he can be unstoppable. Once he can knock down the 3-point shot consistently, he'll be the best player. He'll be the best player in the league.
That's for sure. That reminds me, I still have to send you the pics from the game. But anyways, and then also, of course, in WWE, which I do talk on this channel as well. Um, road to Royal Rumble and WrestleMania. So this time of year is always great. And then also in April, at least for WWE with WrestleMania, April being the best month because selfishly for myself, being my birthday month there. So, anyways, back to not too much else to be bringing up, but looking forward to how the games go. I mean, I wouldn't be sad or mad or whatever if all four road teams won or all four home teams won, whatever it is. Whoever wins the games, I'm sure are going to be great because honestly, I do not see, at least realistically, you wouldn't think that any of these games on Saturday or Sunday tomorrow are going to be blowouts.
Are we making the rest of our predictions for the whole playoffs?
Well, if you want, because you might not be back again. So, I guess if you want, you can move forward and how your board looks, with who you picked, and you can move it forward already to who you have hosting or hoisting the Lombardi Trophy.
Who did we pick again? We had the Cowboys.
Yeah. For me, I had the Bears, the Colts, the Chargers, and the Cowboys.
I said I had the Eagles over the Bears. So I think the Cowboys will go on to face the Rams, and the Eagles will go on to face the Saints. The Eagles once they get to New Orleans, they don't stand a chance though. The Saints will destroy them. I don't think it'll be close. The Saints will go on to win. The Rams will go on and beat the Cowboys. I think that would be a pretty good game though. I think the Rams will go on to face the Saints. The Saints go to the Super Bowl. I don't think anybody's going to stop the Saints. The only team I think legitimately can beat the Saints in New Orleans is the Bears. So if the Bears can make it past Philadelphia, and if my prediction's wrong, I think they can go into New Orleans and I think they can potentially upset the Saints. That's the only team I think in the AFC though they can beat the Saints though in New Orleans. The Rams are pretty good, but when they played the Saints, they scored like 50-something points. It was like a really back-to-back game, so their defense isn't good enough to. And they have a really good defense too. I don't know how their defense isn't that great this year, but their defense isn't good enough to stop Drew Brees in that offense. So I think the Saints will make the Super Bowl. Then I got the Chargers. I had the Chargers over the Ravens and the Colts over the Texans. So the Colts will go on to face the Chiefs. Chargers face the Patriots. I think the Patriots this is probably one of the first years that our offense is really not that great, man. Our defense is not that good either. Our offense is not that great. No, and Brady's 41, and I don't think it's age. I think it's the surroundings that he has. We traded for Josh Gordon this year. We got Josh Gordon. Josh Gordon left. He's got some personal demons that he's battling right now in his personal life. He's going through anxiety and depression, which I completely understand that 100%. Gronk is a shell of himself. Gronk, he's not the same. I wouldn't be surprised if he retired. He can barely even do the things that he used to do. He's just not Gronk anymore. The injuries, his back problems, they're catching up with him now. And if you watch footage of Gronk now and watch footage of Gronk back in like 2011, 2012, 2013, he moves completely different. He just runs different. He moves different. He's more explosive. He just can't do the things that. And he's not even old. He's only like 29 or 30 years old. He's not even old. It's just he's had so many injuries, so he's been beaten up so much. I think it's all catching up to him. And Gronk's really hasn't really done much for us this year at all. And pretty much our best receiver is Julian Edelman right now. We lost Amendola over the offseason. We traded Brandon Cooks in the offseason as well. So, Brady's working with very little. Sony Michel and James White are pretty solid for our running backs. Cordell Patterson, he's been doing pretty well for us too. Chris Hogan's been doing pretty solid for us as well too. But and Philip Dorsett, he's been decent for us too. But with the Patriots, and I'm not just saying this because I'm a Patriots fan. I'm saying this because this is facts. With the Patriots, you can never really count Tom Brady out. And Tom Brady's just that good, whether you like him or not. He's worked with so little his whole career, and besides Randy Moss and Rob Gronkowski, those are the only two Hall of Fame receivers he's ever had. And it really doesn't matter who he has on his team. He just makes it work. I don't know how he does it, but he just manages to go out there and make it happen. So I think my Patriots will beat the Chargers. I think it'll be a really good game. It'll be a very close game, but I think Tom Brady was the MVP last year, and he hasn't played like MVP level this season. But I think when the playoffs come, I think he's going to step it up to another level, and he's just going to do what Tom Brady does. He's going to go out there and do his thing. He's going to put the team on his back. Our defense will need to step up regardless. They're going to have to make some plays for us because Tom Brady can't go out there and he can't do everything by himself. He can only do things on the offense. But defensive-wise, they're going to have to step up for us. So I think the Chargers will lose to the Patriots. The only team I think that can really challenge the Patriots is the Ravens because we've seen over the years that the Ravens and when the Ravens and Patriots play, they're good games. They're 2-2 against each other. The last time we played them in the playoffs was 2014. We were down by 14. We came back and won. But I think especially with the Ravens have the number one defense, I think the Ravens is legitimately the only team that can go out there and challenge us. But I'm going to pick the Patriots to win. I'm going to say the score. I'm going to say I'll say 28-20, 28-25. I'll say 28-25. And then we got the Colts versus the Chiefs. I don't think the Colts will be able to stop the Chiefs. The Chiefs have no defense, but their offense is probably the best in the league. Patrick Mahomes has been spectacular this year. To be his first in the league and throw 50 touchdowns, that's in 5,000 yards. That's incredible. This man is absolutely incredible. Especially if they get Sammy Watkins back. They lost Kareem Hunt early in the year because of no certain reasons. But if they get Sammy Watkins back in there with Travis Kelce and Tyreek Hill, their offense is pretty damn dangerous. So I think the Chiefs will beat the Colts. Andrew Luck is a great quarterback that a lot of people don't talk about. He was hurt last year, and a lot of people said he wasn't going to come back the same, and he's had a spectacular season. And I believe the Colts, especially if they can get Le'Veon Bell next year, they'll be the future team to look out for in the league. But as of right now, the Colts don't have a Super Bowl caliber team to make it, in my opinion. So I'm going to pick the Chiefs to win. I think the Chiefs will win 35-21. They put up a lot of freaking points when they play, so I think it'll be 35-21 when they play. Chiefs go on to play the Patriots. I think the Patriots will beat the Chiefs. Patriots go back to Super Bowl because the Chiefs, number one, they're inexperienced. Two, they have no. If there's anybody defense worse than us, it's probably theirs. Their defense is terrible. They have no defense, and I don't want to say Patrick Mahomes isn't clutch or he's not. He doesn't know how to play under the pressure, but if you go back and look at the games that he lost, the one against the Patriots, the one against the Seahawks, and the one against the Rams, those three games right there, he had some interceptions and turnovers, and he made some bad throws and some bad mistakes. And I think he's inexperienced, and I just don't think he's I don't think he's Super Bowl ready. I'll just say that. I'm not going to say he's not bound for greatness because he definitely is, but I don't think he's Super Bowl caliber ready. I don't see him outperforming Tom Brady, especially in the playoffs. Even though the Chiefs have a way better offense than the Patriots do, I highly doubt that he's going to outperform Tom Brady. So I do think the Patriots will make an upset, and I think they will make the Super Bowl. I think they will win the Super Bowl too. I mean, I'm going to pick my team to win Super Bowl every year until we actually lose. But I think the Patriots will be the Saints. But if the Patriots don't win, if they don't win the Super Bowl, it'll be the Saints. And if the Saints don't win, honestly, if the Saints don't win, I'm gonna say the Chargers. I think the Chargers are my sleeper team in the playoffs. They're a team that I think a lot of people should keep their eye out for. I wouldn't be surprised if they made the Super Bowl, and I wouldn't be surprised if they win because, like I said, they also play in LA, but nobody talks about them. They always talk about the Rams. So the Chargers to me are a sleeper team, as well as I don't see anybody in the AFC stopping the Saints unless besides the Bears in New Orleans. Other than that, the Saints will dominate through and make the Super Bowl. But I'm gonna pick my team to win. I'm definitely gonna pick the Patriots to win. I'm not gonna. I'm gonna pick my team to win every year until they actually lose. I mean, that's anybody's team right there, unless you don't make the playoffs. But
Right.
um, I picked the Saints and the Patriots to make the Super Bowl before the season started, so I'm sticking with that. I would love to see Drew Brees versus Tom Brady Super Bowl. I think that would be a fucking spectacular Super Bowl. Probably, yeah, two Hall of Fame quarterbacks going at it. You can't get no better than that. But like I said, the Bears are the only team I think legitimately that can go into New Orleans in the Superdome and beat the Saints. I don't think any other team can do it. I don't think any other team can challenge the Patriots in the NFC besides the Ravens. So unless we play the Ravens, I don't think we'll lose to the Chargers or the Chiefs. And I think the Patriots will win. If the Patriots don't win, it'll be the Saints. And if the Saints, then my sleeper team is the Chargers.
Yeah, and for me, if the Packers were able to, beat those odds that they had, the low percentage odds to make the playoffs, I too probably would have them run through the NFC and make it to the Super Bowl and win it all. But that did not happen, so they are not here. Um, as for me moving forward, with the teams I had winning, the only difference that we had was in the Eagles Bears game. Excuse me, Chicago getting the win. So moving on to the next round, to the divisional round, NFC and AFC here. Oh, we got the Bears against the Rams again. I see Chicago getting the win again against LA. Defense winning championships, right? So I see Chicago keep coming through. Excuse me. Dallas against New Orleans. Saints getting the win there for sure. On the AFC side, Chiefs over the Colts. And I have the LA Chargers defeating the Patriots. There in that matchup. So in the AFC Championship game, I have the Chargers against the Chiefs, and I have the Chargers kind of pulling it upset. I just see a man on a mission, being Philip Rivers, and a team on a mission trying to get him a ring. Kind of like back in the day with the Denver Broncos, one for the thumb, one for John Elway, and in the end, he won two in a row, back to back. But still, for Philip Rivers, for his legacy, and otherwise, I think they're a team on a mission. He's a man on the mission. So I see the LA Chargers being the AFC representation in the Super Bowl in Atlanta, Georgia. As for the NFC representative in the NFC title game, I have the Bears against the Saints, and the Bears keep doing it, winning a second road game against the second best team in the NFC, beating the New Orleans Saints, winning there in New Orleans. Even as you said, the Chicago Bears being that team that we both believe can beat New Orleans in New Orleans and actually stopping that high potent offense. And I think Chicago will do it. So the Super Bowl I have is the Chicago Bears facing up against the LA Chargers, and I know that's might be crazy for others, for my fans and listeners to hear, because as a Packer fan and the rivalry, but Bears are just that good. I think they certainly have that defense and even have an all-around team to make it to the Super Bowl. So in the Super Bowl, Chicago against LA, I have the Chargers getting the win, the AFC team winning the Super Bowl. Chargers over the Bears 27-20 in a matchup there, maybe last second touchdown, whatever, final drive. however it happens. 27-20 Chargers over the Bears, and the Chargers being the Super Bowl champions. I mean, I certainly would be shocked if the Colts or the Eagles make that surprising run. And probably more so the Colts, but in a sense the Eagles because they did it last year, and if they can do it again, sort of thing, with Nick Foles, as we talked about earlier. But yeah, I see it being Bears Chargers in the end. My official prediction way back from the start of this season, before the season even started, was Packers Patriots. So we'll see if I can get half of that right, because that is my official prediction, the one that everybody can hold me accountable to. But as of the actual setup of the playoffs now, officially, my prediction is Chicago against LA, against the Chargers. I'm sorry, Bears against the Chargers in the Super Bowl, and the Chargers getting the win, and Philip Rivers getting the Super Bowl, because I think he deserves to be in that conversation of best quarterbacks, not just in NFL history or of his generation, but let alone of the NFL draft class that he was part of. And those players and those quarterbacks have won Super Bowl rings, one including Ben Roethlisberger. But still, I think he deserves to be mentioned with, and truly actually mentioned with, those quarterbacks and other quarterbacks as well as best in the league. So we'll see if that actually comes to fruition. But yeah, that's our predictions for the whole playoffs from this weekend all the way to Super Sunday in Atlanta, Georgia. And before I go, I just want to say hopefully the Packers do get it right for their head coach. But beyond that, before we go, of course, Malik promote himself, put himself over, let people know where they can find you all over social media and also here on YouTube.
You can go subscribe to my YouTube channel, Narcolepsy Boy 94. I have a few things coming up. Sunday on my channel, I will have Steve and the Mountie on my channel for what I'm calling a WWE head-to-head trivia battle. 35 questions, and the questions can be about anything. I got a lot of random questions on here. The questions can be about, basically testing the WWE knowledge from both guys. We'll see how much they know or how much they can remember. And the questions can be random. They can be hard questions. They're going to be hard questions. Some of them may be easier than others, but I mean, they can be questions like, how many people attended this WrestleMania, or how many times did this guy hold the world title, or how many times, who beat this guy when stuff like that, just little stuff like that. I also do trivia videos if you're interested in trivia. I do Disney trivia, WWE trivias, movie trivia, cartoon trivias, all type of trivias. You can follow my social media, my Twitter and my Instagram, Malik Kelly 94. Go check those out. And like I said, Steve and Mountie will be on my channel Sunday, 2 p.m. for a head-to-head trivia battle.
Yes, excuse me, and I'm looking forward to that. So everybody go over there to his channel and subscribe, ring the bell, and you get to see me there on Sunday afternoon. For myself, of course, you can subscribe to the channel, ring the bell, know when I go live to my next videos. Find me on social media, Twitter at Army_strong_06, or for this specific podcast at Talking_Packers on Instagram and Snapchat at StevieK_06. You can find my Facebook fan page, Talking Packers with Steve, there on Facebook. Just search it and like the page there. Thanks to everybody that watched live, though. Also watching archive, welcome to leave a comment in the comment section below. Your thoughts on anything that we spoke of today, and give your predictions. Who do you have winning this weekend? Who do you have as Super Bowl champions? I would love to read it and see everybody's thoughts on that. Hope you all have a great rest of your day, your evening, and weekend. And above all else, as always, take care.